Welcome everybody to Passive Cash Flow for Life Teaching Tuesdays. Welcome back to everyone that has been here before, and welcome to all the new people. For the new people that are coming here for the first time, just a quick background for you. So Nicole Amundsen and I started the Teaching Tuesdays about a year ago, and then Jane and Sharon started on the single family side, the Teaching Tuesday there as well. And they're on after we do this piece. So it's 6:30 for one, 7:30 for the next one. Nicole had been doing multifamily for, I guess now it's been almost 25 years, thousands and thousands and thousands of units across the United States. About 11 years ago, 10 years ago, she decided she wanted to teach. She just loves to teach, right? She's very, very good at it. And it wasn't to make, I mean, yes, we charge for what we do, but believe me, we are not doing this to pay the bills, okay? This was an opportunity for her to kind of pay back, if you will, or pay it forward, however you want to say it. So I took the class actually when it was live. I guess it's been like 6 or 7 years now, I think. Really loved it. Nicole and I ended up buying some stuff together, and we've been partners ever since. And then right before COVID hit, we didn't know COVID was going to hit, but we decided to put everything online. So we redid the entire 4-day course and recorded about 60 hours worth of material. And that's that QR code up there if you have an interest, or it's just passivecashflowforlife.com. If you have an interest in the course, great. If you have an interest in mentoring, just notify us separately, because we're not really, except for right now, we're not really advertising that. We're going to keep the group very, very small. Maybe it's like 5 people or something like that. So just reach out to us separately. So Nicole is doing some holiday stuff, so we wish her well. And today we are going to talk about credibility kits. So you can look at the credibility kit in a couple of different ways, right? So you can look at it as something that you would hand out. You can look at it as something that you would email to people, or you can take something like this and basically create a website, depending on what you want to do. I think this is a good place to start. And then if you want to do a website, you can kind of transition it over. Or, I guess with AI now, it's really easy to build websites, or so they tell me. I haven't tried it yet, but maybe you just want to do something like this and kind of take the core components of what we're going to show you tonight and kind of build your website around that. Because the idea behind a credibility kit is, see, this is going to do this? No. All right. So I got to do it this way. All right. So, if you are just getting started or have been around for a while and want to scale, right? So this week's Teaching Tuesday is really geared to those that want to raise money. So you have to find investors and kind of share with them what you're doing. Those people that want to get funding, whether it be from a private entity, a credit union, a bank, an agency, wherever it is, or sometimes, and this used to happen, doesn't happen as much now, but it does happen once in a while. If there are multiple offers on a deal, you want to be able to present yourself as someone that is professional, that has done well, that have a good team put together and stuff like that. Because a lot of times what sellers will do is they will not pick the highest and best. They will pick the best, but it's not always the highest. And that has happened to us a couple of times when they chose us because of our credibility, basically, if you will. Because at the end of the day, the seller and the broker each want, well, the seller wants 2 things. The broker wants 1 thing, right? So the broker just wants to close. Got to get paid, right? So they just want to close. And the seller, obviously wants to close as well. The other side of that for a lot of sellers, not all of them, especially not the institutional ones, but some of these sellers, some of the smaller apartments, they've had these for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. They know all of the tenants by name. They know the neighborhood. They know the person that owns the coffee place down the street or whatever it is. So sometimes, and we actually did this, we had an 82 unit that we looked at that the person actually built them. And he knew, not all of his tenants, because there were a lot of them, but he knew a lot of his tenants and everyone walking around. And I don't recommend this, but everyone knew he was the owner. And, he had a very special connection. It wasn't just a piece of property to him. So for those people, they want to think, okay, what is the character of the person that is going to take over something I've had for the last 20 years, right? So sometimes that's very important to people. You would think that, hey, they're just buying a cash flowing machine. Who cares? Sellers actually, sometimes care about that. So that's basically what a credibility kit is for. And I'll use credibility kit going forward. So you can, put in there, website or credibility kit, whatever you choose to do. So the idea behind a credibility kit is it allows you to present yourself to three different groups or three different buckets, right? So present yourself for investors, present yourself to lenders and sellers in a positive light. It allows them to learn a little bit more about you, who you are, and what your business is focuses on, without your having to, and you should never be selling anyway, but some people feel like they have to sell their business to get people to invest or whatever it is. Please don't ever do that. And if you have a credibility pack, obviously you won't need to do that because you give all the information out to the individual. And I'll show one of our old ones here in a little bit. All right, so people work with people they like and trust, right? I did not make this up. This has been around for like 2 centuries. I don't know how long it's been around. But the light starts with, believe it or not, first impressions. I know it's not fair, but it's true. People automatically judge you the first time they meet you. So it doesn't mean that they're always going to think of you as X, right? If they have an incredible first impression, doesn't mean that, if something happens poorly or whatever it is, they're still going to have that impression. And the reverse is also true. They may have a bad first impression with you, but as they get to know you, they figure out, oh, wow, this person's really good. My recommendation obviously is not to push the rock uphill. Try and make a great first impression, and that way you can kind of just roll with the ball downhill and get momentum. So the like part starts with, doing what you say you're going to do. I'm amazed at the number of people, and I have been guilty of this before. If I get too much on my plate, everybody has. But there's some people that repeatedly say they're going to do something and don't do it. And it's very frustrating. So if you want someone to like you, wow, something, they said that they were going to do it and they did it, right? So that kind of builds it up a little bit. You should always be looking to achieve their goals first. There's a great saying by Zig Ziglar that I actually have on my desk, which is, you can have everything you want in life if you help other people get what they want first. So understand that when you are working with people, you are, again, are not selling them, right? You are helping them achieve whatever goals they have. And you just happen to be, and your business happens to be an instrument for them to be able to acquire their goals over time. And having said that, obviously make sure it's a win-win for both parties. I could sell something to somebody for half price and they would be very excited, right? I took care of them, but then it's not a win-win for me, right? Because I basically just gave away a cash flowing property. So, all right. And then the trust builds on a lot of what we just talked about, right? Do you do what you said you were going to do? Are you going to help me achieve what I want to achieve? Are we going to make sure this is a win-win and you're not just going to try and take advantage of me? And then the last part of that trust is where the credibility comes in, the website comes in. Jane and Sharon, will you keep me honest in terms of time, please?
Yes, we will.
Thank you. All right, so there's 3 types of credibility kits, right? One is for the investors, right? One is for the sellers, like we just talked about, and one is for the lender. And the most important one for most people is really the investor one. And then these 2 others, the seller and the lenders, you just basically tweak your investor one to whatever their needs are, whatever their goals are, and basically adjust. So you don't have to have 3 totally separate ones. All right, so some not specific, I guess some I like the analogy buckets, right? So some different buckets, right, that you'll have when you present yourself to someone, and in this instance, are basically asking them to have faith in you that you will take their 10, 50, 100 million dollars, whatever it is, and that you will be a good steward, right? That you kind of know what you're doing. I know it's difficult for when you're starting off, and we've got a couple of things you can do here in terms of aligning yourself so your team looks trustworthy, if you will. So first, talk about your company, right? And adjust as you will. So how long have you been in business, right? Maybe you started yesterday, so started in 2023, whatever it may be. Or maybe you've been interested in real estate for the last 5 years, so, started or entered the real estate space in 2000 and what is that, 18, right? Or whatever it may be. I mean, don't lie, but, let them know how long you've been in the business. And who are the leaders of your company? It might just be you, right? And that's fine, okay? Give yourself a nice kind of bio in terms of what you've been able to achieve. And you can look at some of our bios and stuff like that. Basically, you're not bragging, but you're showing them that there are some things that you've accomplished that you're proud of. Or it can just be, something about yourself in general, but obviously try and keep it on the business side. I mean, it's great that you like dogs, right? But maybe the people aren't really interested in that when they're looking at you to give you money. If you have an advisory board, that's huge, right? If you're a mentoring student, obviously you can use either Nicole or I or both of us on your kit or on your website, whatever you want to do. But if you have a partner that is more seasoned than you are, you can go ahead, but they're not going to actually joint venture with you, but they're just going to kind of help guide you and stuff like that. Try and put those people on there as well. And then you want to tell them what you invest in and why, right? So you don't just want to tell them, I just invest in multifamily. Okay, so big buildings, small buildings, bad neighborhoods, good neighborhoods, Maryland, Hawaii, give them as much detail as you can. I mean, don't box yourself in, if you will, but did give them an idea, which lets them know, something, I sat down here and thought about it. So like right now, we're buying again, and we're trying to stay within a 3 or 4 hour window of where I live in Maryland, right? So that is my window. So that's really a 5-state area. So I would put that down in my credibility kit. These are the 5 states that I'm looking at. In the future, in the past, we've done other stuff, and in the future, we'll probably do other stuff again. I will tell you that one of the first properties that we bought was in Georgia, and Nicole does not like to fly unless she's going overseas. So 11 and a half hours one way, 11 and a half hours back. Craziness. But anyway, I know Jane and Sharon, you guys have done that, I think recently, right? Came back up. Is that right? Your drive was even longer. And then why should they trust you and your company with their money? And obviously that's something that you may want to take, maybe go sit outside or take a little while and kind of think about, okay, if I were in their shoes, why would I trust me, right? What is it that would help me think, okay, this person is somebody that I think I can work with. I'm not going to give them 100 grand, but I'll kind of try them and I'll give them 50 grand or 10 grand or whatever your space is that you're looking to do, right? But do something that shows them that, listen, you are trustworthy. And it can be something from a completely separate part of your life, but that shows them that you have had people's trust in some form or manner before, or form or fashion before, and that they can kind of I guess, link up with that and kind of start their trusting process with you. All right, so you talk about your team. A couple things here. So when you go to a lender, depending on the size of your property, right, they're going to ask for a couple of things, right? If your properties are, 25, 30, 35, 40 units and above, they're going to want a sponsor, right, which is basically kind of like your advisory board, if you will, that is going to be there for you, right? And make sure that if the ship is going in the wrong direction, they can kind of jump in. And a lot of times those people will actually sign on the note or on the loan itself as well. And there's other stuff we can talk about, net worth and stuff like that, but that's time for another Teaching Tuesday. So if you're less than 30, 35, 25, whatever it may be, you probably won't need a sponsor, depending on who you are, who you go to, that kind of thing. I will tell you that I really, really recommend that you have, if you can, a property management company as part of your team that you've already identified. Now, a lot of you are just starting out. You don't even know what market you're going to go to. And, there's a whole process for that in terms of how you identify your market, and then how you find property managers and how you interview them. So, you will have to go through that process, right? and put somebody up there. Don't just grab a name out of a hat, because when you present this to somebody, they're going to be like, oh, ABC? That place is horrible. That's their property management company? And we've gotten stories like that where, oh my God, you can go anywhere here, just don't talk to these people, kind of thing, right? So identify them, and then you can kind of take their bio, right? And then this is probably the most important part of the credibility kit if you're starting out, is who is on your team, who is guiding you, who is helping you. Some lenders won't even give you a loan unless you have third-party property management. If you're running it yourself, sometimes they'll just walk away. They're like, no, but we're not interested. On the smaller ones, maybe they will, but on some of the bigger ones, they're like, no, you need, because you're new or relatively new or whatever it is, you need to have somebody on your team that knows how to run the business after you've acquired it, because at the end of the day, running the business is where you make all your money. You can buy the best deal in town and run it into the ground in 6 months, right? So it's all about executing on your business plan. So really the most important part there. And then basic info on the properties you invest in. We kind of touched on this a little bit before. So why what you invest in is a good strategy. Why is it a good strategy that you happen to like? Now, I'll tell you what we like, right? So we like B and C properties with some strong value add component in B and C neighborhoods, right? And the reason we like those is because we find value add, we can take efficiencies of scale, we can take market rent where it's needed, we can go in and do rehabs and basically turn the property around. So there's a lot of spread in there for us, basically. So in the next 1, 2, 3 years, this is basically running on its own and doing very well, especially for us, since we bought it at when it was really run really poorly, right? So people go, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? You're going to kind of fix it up and then run it. All right, that makes total sense. And you want not A type, right? So not super luxury, and you don't want in the war zones. So you're kind of looking at B and C, and then we have certain reasons for why we do that and stuff like that. So kind of present it in a way that they understand. You're just not kind of looking just anywhere. First deal that comes out of, the blue or whatever it is, I might buy that, because they're not going to be comfortable with that. They want to know what they're going to be looking at. And yes, you're still going to have to go back and present the actual deal. But if they already know that, something, I only invest in A-type properties in Miami. When you talk to them, right, they're going to go, listen, love to work with you, but I'm not interested in anything except Miami, and you're working in Texas, right? So right off the bat, you're not going to waste their time the next time, or waste your own time, right? In terms of reaching out to them when you actually get a deal. Whatever data you can find that's relevant to your business plan, don't put the whole thing in there unless it's a short article, but you may want to reference an article, so something like, not for your this, but just in general, I'm thinking, okay, interest rates at highest level in the last 3 years, and then just reference Forbes August 2nd 2023 or whatever it is. You can do stuff like that. Again, don't put the whole article. If you want to put a link in there, that's fine too. If you're doing a website, you can do a link as well. Obviously, on a hard piece like a credibility kit, it's a little bit more difficult. And then kind of what we just talked about, right? What are your investment strategies and why do they work, right? Why does it work when we buy a property 70 cents on the dollar and go in and fix everything and run it better and raise the rents to market? Why does that work? It sounds like it should be pretty obvious, but sometimes you have to kind of walk people through it, because some of the people you're going to be talking to don't know anything about real estate. Right? That's where you come in. You're the expert, right? And what you're basically saying is, this is my expertise, right? And I'm going to provide you a return on your money. And I'll kind of show you kind of the broad brushstrokes, but I don't expect you to be able to look at a T12 or a rent roll or anything like that. I'm going to give you kind of the basic brushstrokes. And then why is commercial real estate better than other types of investments, right? One of the main ones with any kind of real estate is leverage, right? And I know with the stock market, there are different ways you can kind of leverage a little bit, but it can be pretty dangerous. But there's lots of different opportunities or different reasons why commercial real estate specifically, and real estate in general, right, is a much safer long-term strategy. And if you do it right, you can obviously do very, very well financially. So everyone has a goal for whatever it is that they're doing. When people look at investments, right? Like for me, I'll just tell you straight up what mine is, right? So mine is, if I X myself out of the equation, my family's taken care of, right? That's job one, okay? I don't drive a fancy car, don't live at a fancy house, don't do any of that stuff, right? That's job one. So for me, if you could say, hey, James, something, you talked about your family, how close you are to them and stuff like that, something, you could have passive income coming in for the next 10, 20, 30 years. You could pass it off to your kids. It's an opportunity for you to really do something positive that fits in with your goal, right? And I would be interested in that, right? The other side of that is people really like seeing themselves as owners of property. I don't know whether it's a kind of beat your chest thing or what it is, but we've done a couple of things. We will actually send out kind of really nice quality knit shirts, right? With the logo and the name of the complex, right, that we're buying. So people can wear that around and go, oh yeah, that's apartment that, I own part of, or whatever it is. Or sometimes we'll do kind of these, they're cheap, but they don't look cheap. Kind of these little trophies, if you will. You've seen like the clear kind of flame, if you will. And then you have on there, whatever it may be, the Citadel 2023, partial owner, whatever it is, something to make them feel proud about, what they're doing. The beautiful thing for that is if you're looking for investors, is that people will ask, hey, what is the Citadel? And they can go, oh, I invested in this property and it's doing really well. Oh, I'd like to do that. Oh, look, here's Jane's number. Call her, and then she will, talk to you and see if you qualify for what they look for. And if you do, she can talk to you a little bit more about what the process is and stuff like that, right? So third-party referrals, always the best way to go. And then how they can invest, right? A lot of people are not. I mean, it's easy. Let's do it this way, right? So if you wanted to buy stocks and you knew nothing about the stock market, right? You'd be like, well, I don't know what, I want to buy something, but do I go to the bank, right? Do I go to my CPA? Who do I go to, right? So you can get an app on your phone and buy it that way. You can go to a broker, whatever it is, right? Most people know that, but a lot of people don't, believe it or not. And it's the same kind of thing with investing in syndications or joint venturing with people or whatever it is. Provide them with an opportunity to understand how the process works, right? So let's say for syndication, we're going to give you all this paperwork, so it's all legal and stuff like that. You're going to sign off on it. The day of closing, 2 to 3 days before that, we need you to wire the money into the escrow account that the attorney holds, right? And as time goes on, we'll be sending you quarterly dividend checks. Every quarter, we'll also send you an update in terms of how the property is doing. And our plan that we're showing you now will take us 3 to 7 years to execute on. So if you need your money in the next 2 or 3 years, this may not be an opportunity for you, okay? And just be upfront with people, right? Just tell them the truth. It may be locked up for a while, but at least let them know. And then if they have an interest and you seem to be getting along, ask them for some level of commitment in terms of at least looking at your next deal, right? And it's as easy as, hey, something, John, if I find a deal that kind of fits the parameters that you and I talked about and kind of fits in terms of what you're looking for your goals, would it be okay? Or I guess you could say it would be okay, right? If I kind of presented that to you and you can kind of take a look at it and decide if it's something you want to move forward, right? And you nod your head and they go, yes. So you want to get some level of commitment from them. And then tell them that you want to stay in touch. I am amazed how few people do this, right? And this is going to be perfect because Jane and Sharon are going to talk about relationships, which I'm very excited to learn about or hear more about, I guess. But this is what you're basically establishing with these people, right? You're trying to establish a relationship with them. So when someone invests with you today, in 3 or 4 years, you go back to them and you say, hey, would you like to invest in this other one? They go, I gave you 50 grand last time, but I've really got $250,000. I've got that relationship with you now. So yes, let me invest the $250,000 or whatever it may be. And this happens. Okay. This is not pie in the sky. This really, really happens. And you can keep in touch with them any way you want, right? people talk about, okay, well, I know this guy likes golf, so if I'm interested in golf article or whatever it is, I'll send them that. Or, different things like that. When your investor database gets a little bit bigger, it's a little bit harder to um, do something specific for each person. So you just want to send them something, hey, just wanted to reach out and touch base, want to let you know, we're looking for opportunities and stuff like that. And then maybe if you have like an article or something like that, you can link to something interesting about commercial real estate or something like that. That's always positive, because then you're actually not only reaching out to them, but you're providing them with value, right? You're helping them before you help yourself. And then this, all right, so this is the class, right? So what we're doing is a couple of things. The class is 1997, right? It is online. You can go to passivecashflowforlife.com. It's got all 36 modules on there, descriptions of everything. We're also going to do something we haven't done since before COVID, and that is we're going to do a 4-day live class in Baltimore, first week of March. I think it's 7, 8, 9, and 10 in Baltimore at a conference center. And we're going to basically do kind of like a jump start, right? In terms of, okay, great. You kind of gone through your courses and stuff like that online or whatever it is. Let's sit down and really get you to the next level faster, right? And we'll go over some of the material that's covered in the modules, but we'll also produce a lot more material to help you get going, right? And I don't know when we're going to do this again. Nicole is doing a lot more stuff overseas, so her time is very limited. My time is very limited, and she's got 25 years of experience, and I've got like 7. Okay, so you want to learn from her anyway, not me. So what we're going to do for that, because the holidays are here now, that if you want to, right, totally up to you. If you want to kind of lock in those savings or whatever it is, you go to bit.ly. This means passive cash flow for life 97, right? So you go in there, you give your credit card, $97, whatever it is, locks you in. Now it is non-refundable, right? So I know it's only $97, but $97 is $97. So if you want to take advantage of it, we highly encourage you to do that. We've had a lot of students that have done very, very well. But it's totally, up to you. And then obviously if you move forward, we'll obviously credit you that $97 towards, whatever you decide to do. And then here's a couple of different things for you, I guess, some resources for you. And then when I'm done, because I can't do 2 things at once, when I'm done, I'll put these in the chat box for you. So they're actually live links. But this is a webinar that we created that has a lot of good teaching in it. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes long, or whatever it is. It's totally free, not to pay for it, so if you have an interest, I definitely encourage you to go and watch that. PassiveCashFlowForLife.com is kind of our website. Or can you guys let Tyler in, please? Can you guys see him? Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you. So anyway, it's got a ton of information on there. If you have questions or whatever it is, not just about the class, right? But just questions in general. Hey, James, I'm looking at this property out here, whatever it is. Would you mind just kind of taking 5 or 10 minutes and kind of walking me through a couple of issues I have with it? Nicole has been incredibly gracious with me, and I try and help people, as best I can, as much as I can. And I'll tell you what I tell everybody, right? If you're local and you want to meet in person, I'll do that, but you need to come to my Starbucks, right? Which is up here in Ellicott City, Maryland. If you want to do it on the phone or Zoom or whatever it is, that's fine. I have no problem with that at all. I love to help people as best I can. And so feel free to reach out. And then our YouTube channel, which is where all of these Teaching Tuesdays are, is right there as well. Multifamily Passive Cash Flow for Life. And there's actually a number missing on there. It's 1380. But if you just type in Multifamily Passive Cash Flow for Life, it'll actually pull it up on YouTube. And then we've probably got, I guess, almost 50, I think, videos up there, because we're now in December. So it's been every Tuesday since January that we've been doing this. And there are playlists and stuff like that. And we've also got meetups up there and a whole bunch of other stuff. So anyway, hopefully you guys found some value in that. You can kind of, if you want to start getting your credibility kit going, or you want to start your website or whatever it is, this will be up on the website, on YouTube, in a couple of days. So you can kind of go in there and watch it and take screenshots, whatever it is you feel comfortable doing. And then the last thing for you is I wanted to just show you real quick if I can find it here. Let's see. Let me find an old credibility kit of ours, which is somewhere here. Let's see if I can find it. Did I close it? No. Just bear with me for a second. Contacts, credibility kit. There it is. All right. So let me share my screen again if I can. And again, you guys are going to have to, where, oh, there it is. Okay, found it. All right, so share up and I'll make it bigger. Can you guys see this okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Yep. Okay, all right, so this is a 4-page, right? So when Nicole and I started partnering, we called this the Reach Group, right? TRG, LLC, and then we expanded into other states. So then we do like TRG, TRGB. Our accountant hates us because he can't keep them apart. And then sometimes we just call it Reach, which is a totally different acronym for something else. But whatever logo you want to put in, the one thing that we've kept common throughout, I guess, our history is we always use kind of gold and blue, dark navy blue, if you will, kind of as our colors. Let's see if I can move this over for you so you can see it better. Let me move this camera over. Let's see. All right. Oh, it's not gonna let me do it. Okay. So over here, right? I'm trying to make this bigger so you can see it too. So let me try this. Oops. All right. Maybe too big. All right. So this is kind of page 1, right? And it's 4 pages, right? So we talk about a little bit about what our goals are, right? We talk about some group facts, right? This is an old one because it only says 5,000 units, obviously. And then we talk about, can't remember which page this is, but people are going to have a lot of questions. And it's great if you can think of what those most common questions are and answer them ahead of time, right? So how often do you communicate with investors? Oh, look, it's right here. They'll still ask you probably, but it's nice that you're giving them as much information and being as transparent as you possibly can right from the beginning. Do you do joint ventures? That kind of thing. And this is still valid, right? With some properties that we buy, we use joint venture partnerships. So obviously if you're a mentoring student and, we find a good deal, whatever it is, and you want a joint venture, that's great. If you find a property and you're not part of the mentoring group, but you're part of the community, you can bring it to us and we'll be more than happy to look at it. And if it's a good deal, we'll partner it. I will tell you up front, we are super, super conservative, right? It's got to make sense with the numbers and we can't stretch the numbers. We just can't stretch the numbers, right? The last thing you want is to be underwater because, the chiller blows or something happens or whatever it is. So we keep our estimates. And I'll just tell you up front for those that know how to underwrite and stuff like that, we use 10% vacancy, right? Economic, physical concessions, always, right? If it's more than that, then obviously we'll take that into account. But right off the top, we take 10%. And out of that 90% that's left, we always put in 45% for expenses unless they're higher, right? But that's kind of our benchmark. And this is across 6,000 units, right? So that's our average, if you will. Some are a little bit more, some a little bit higher. But if you bring us a deal and go, hey, James, would you mind looking at this? I'm like, okay, what's your expense ratio? Oh, it's, 63%. And I'm like, it's 63% now, or that's what you plan on running it at? Oh, no, we plan on running on 63%. It's like, this is not going to work. And I'll tell you why. And maybe you can go back and kind of, figure it out or bring something different or whatever it is. So again, we're open to it, but, it's kind of on a case by case basis. All right, let me see if I can do, I'm going to have to do this backwards. All right, so here's a little bit of a bio, right? This is Nicole. This is an older picture. I love this picture. When her hair was red. And this is also, whoops, what happened there? Let's see. So that's an old picture of me too. So it talks a little bit about like my portfolio, leadership, entrepreneurship, stuff like that. And this is a gentleman that we used to work with. We don't, unfortunately, we had to part ways. But that's okay. You can have good partners and bad partners, right? Either way. Good guy overall, just didn't work out for what we're looking for. And then if I can get to the last page, that one, let me. All right, it's not going to, here we go. All right, here is, I'll try and keep this on here, the strategy, right? So, hey, James, what do you guys do? All right, so we want emerging and stable US markets, right? And we get into a little bit more detail back here. What do? We do multifamily and self-storage, and under multifamily falls mobile home parks, right? We've been approached about, new builds, retail, office space, I'll look at anything, right? But that's not my expertise, right? So this is really what we specialize in. And when we go and buy something with investors' money, right, which we don't do that much anymore, but when we go and buy stuff with investors' money, we stick in this buy box, right? Mr. Investor, Mrs. Investor, this is what I told you, we would do if you wanted to invest with us. So here is what we're doing, right? We're not going to come to you after we talked about this and say, hey, I found this really good used car lot that I'd like to buy, business that I'd like to buy or whatever it is. And then on down here, commercial assets with potential and stuff like that. Oops, I can't get that graph. There it is. And then increase in value for a lot of the properties that Nicole has. Some of them we partner on and stuff like that in terms of how much they've actually appreciated over time. And some of these have obviously almost doubled in value. The other thing we do, and again, not so much for joint ventureships, but we pretty much don't sell anything, right? We keep all our properties, which is, how the portfolio has gotten to the level that it's gotten to. I guess our thought process is, if you work so hard to buy it, right? And fix it and get it running properly, why would you sell it, right? Because from a long-term perspective, right, as time goes on, your mortgage is going down and your rents are going up, right? So whereas before you were making, well, I'll give you an example, right? So property in Pittsburgh, right? First bought on average, it was 32 units on average. I think it was like $110 per unit, right? Just off the bat, right? So $3,200 a month right off the bat, right? Right now they crank out about between, I think it's like $450 or $500 a month in spread, right? And that doesn't take into account any kind of equity increase because we've been paying down the mortgage or increase in value or anything like that. So if you look at that, I don't know what the math is on that. Call it 4 times 32. What is that? $12,000 a month versus used to be $3,000 a month. But you've got to hold it over time. You've got to be patient. This is a long-term business, right? It's a marathon, right? Not a sprint. So okay, all right. I'll leave it there for you guys. And what kind of questions, if any, can I answer for anybody? We've got a small enough group. Hey, Charlene. That if you just want to unmute or whatever it is, that's totally fine. Please feel free to do that. And it can be about this, or it can be about anything else that you want to talk about, anything multifamily related. No politics, no religion, okay? Just multifamily, mobile home park, self-storage, that's about it. And then obviously with Jane and Sharon, who are the single family experts, we can ask questions about that in the next part. So any questions I can answer for you now?
Wayne has a question.
All right,
Just from a credibility standpoint, when you're getting started, I don't know about everybody else, but I basically work out of my home, and I've been considering virtual office or some cheap office space. Just from a credibility standpoint, does that really make a difference, or it's the business that you do?
in terms of what, being able to bring an investor into an actual office that belongs to you?
No, not so much that, but just not having a home office. Doesn't matter.
I've got a home office, but I've worked out of my house for 25 years, and I usually just leave my background the way it is, but you got all kind of Zoom backgrounds, you can make it look fancy or whatever it is. And some of them are like really, really good. Like you can't tell, they're that good kind of thing. But yeah, working out of your home, just slap something up behind you, you're good to go. You're fine. Anybody else?
Yeah, a little bit an underwriting question, James. Also, first, thank you. Awesome as always.
Sure.
You mentioned the 45% for the expense ratio.
Mhm.
Obviously, you got there's some that could be like hopefully maybe a diamond in the rough, like where you see that the expenses are actually too much. Like, how do you kind of see? Obviously, your experience I think you can tell what expenses should be, and you can see where they're maybe spending too much money, where you can see that drop to the 45.
Right.
What how somebody newer or somebody that doesn't have kind of like that background, how for all of us, how can we kind of see, okay, you know what, this is 65%, but it looks like they're spending way too much here, or any tips in that way?
Part of it
So
is
that we don't
obviously,
pass, sorry, just to finish, so that we don't pass on like something that's like, off the top we see, oh, it's 65%. No. So something like
okay,
that.
so let me back out for a second. Just because it says 65% doesn't mean you say no. Okay. If you're coming to me and saying, hey, James, I'm going to run this property when I've got it stabilized at 65% expenses, they're not going to think you're on crack. Okay. Because you can't do that. Okay. So 45% once it's stabilized. So if somebody brings me a property
Okay.
to 65% expenses and there's not something wacko on there, whatever it is, I get pretty excited because I know over the next, 6, 12, 18, 24 months, I can get that 65 down to about 45. So I'm going to save all that money, but I'm buying it based on the fact that they've got 65% expenses. So their net operating income is going to be a lot lower, right?
Yeah.
So I'm buying it for, I don't know, 2 million, right? Based on 65% expenses. As soon as I reduce those expenses to 45% without doing anything else, right?
Yeah.
My property might be worth 3.5 million, right? Just
Yeah.
not even doing rehab or maintenance, none of that stuff, right?
Got it.
So that's what
So
we
once
aim for.
stabilized. So once stabilized was the key part
Exactly.
there.
That, yeah, when
Okay.
you underwrite, that's what you're aiming for. And again, to kind of stress this point a little bit, if they're at 65%, right? As nice as it would be, chances are you're not going to get to 45% after 12 months. Okay.
Yeah.
I would underwrite, okay, the following year I'm going to get down to 55, and then the following year I'll get down to 45. Because the beauty of that, Freddie, is that if for some reason in year one you drop to 45%, that's just extra money, right? But you went in conservative, just like we do, and it's like, look, if our plan works, we're good. Oh my goodness, look what happened. This is fantastic, right? So always kind of the expression under promise, over deliver, right? If you will, kind of do that for your own properties, right? I'm going to under promise what this property can do, and then if I over deliver, fantastic. Does that work? Does
Awesome.
that help you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Good deal. Anybody else? What time are we at? 7:17. Got anything? No questions, really? Did I answer everybody's questions, or I just bore you to death? Which one was it?
You definitely didn't bore us to death, and we had people stop by listening.
Oh, really? Okay, good deal.
Very informative, James.
So thanks, Joanna. All right. So I guess go ahead.
One thing that you did brush up on that we can attest to, where when you borrow money from people, you start out small and prove yourself, and then they'll give you more money after the second or third or fourth deal. And we belong to a group in Sarasota, and we go there quite regularly. And one of the investors there was a private money lender for us. And last year we went to a Christmas party, and he was telling everybody there, they'll Jane and Sharon, if you borrow money from them, you're going to get your money back every month, like clockwork, early. Your money's safe with them, and their investments are good. So even the money lenders will start singing your praise for you when you do good by them. So we can definitely attest to that.
That's awesome.
Your own target.
And the flip side of that too is when you're looking. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, one of our
Oh, okay. Somebody in your meeting have a question? Jane, Sharon, is that what's going on over there?
No, they were just saying hi. They were walking by.
Okay. So the other side of that, right? Obviously, make a good impression when you're talking to investors. Be prepared, have your credibility, pack, website, whatever it may be. The other way, in terms of, all right, I'm going to go talk to this person because they look like they have money, right? There's an old saying that says, I'd rather be rich than look rich. Okay. And a lot of really wealthy people follow that saying, right? You would be amazed at some of the people that are worth, $500 million, $1 billion, $300 million, 2 million, 5 million. You just never know, right? And maybe be like, something? I'm rich. If I want to wear jeans with rips in them and a torn up t-shirt or whatever it is, that's just me, kind of thing. So don't prejudge. Obviously, once you start talking to them, you can evaluate as you kind of go along and stuff like that. But don't prejudge people. I don't know who told me this story, but I think it might have been Nicole. They were in a cab going somewhere, her and a person that was an investor, and they were talking about investments and stuff like that or whatever it is. And the cabbie stops right at wherever they were going, and he turns around, he looks at Nicole and goes, I've got like $100 grand in my IRA. Can I invest with you? So you just never know where the money's going to come from, right? So don't prejudge, right? Talk to everybody. You just never know.
Totally agree with that. That's a given. We're in a hotel here. There's a ton of people here, and I mean, there's some people worth some big money. You never know it. They don't flaunt it.
And if you tell people what you do, not only you find money lenders, but you can find people that are selling their house or know other people that are selling their houses or see a property that looks vacant or distressed in their neighborhood, that they'll reach out to you. A lot of times, even when we go to restaurants, of course, you got to tip well when you do it, but give them your card and let them know what you need. And they might reach out to you if they have something available, or, they're selling, or a family member. We do that a lot. Or even, postal employees, you talk to them.
It's a good idea.
And, 'cause they see everybody, they see all the houses in the neighborhood. So they can give you addresses, the ones that are vacant or distressed. So
they get all the foreclosure mail too.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. That's true too.
Okay, are you allowed to give them like a bird dog fee or something, or they're not allowed to take that as a postal employee?
They have, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Gift cards work for everything here. Thanks for looking out for us.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hey, guys, it's just called down over here.
Hey.
Let's go. The elevator's not through.
What do you say?
Right. So, for anybody else, we got a couple minutes left here before Jane and Sharon hop on. We all good? Okay. All right. So maybe I guess we shouldn't start early on your part, Jane and Sharon, because you've got people showing up right at 7:30, right? So that wouldn't be fair to them. All right. So what other value can we provide for you? Oh, I know. So Jane and Sharon talked about giving out your card, right? So you can do that whatever way you want. I was presenting at a Hispanic group. My parents are from Spain, so I speak Spanish. So I want to do this big presentation or whatever it is. And a couple of big guys came up to me, and they're like, "Oh, can I give you my card? And then can I get your card?" So I give them my card, and they go, "Here's my card," and they just tap to my phone, right? Some of them have a QR code. They show it on the face of their phone or whatever it is. You just take a picture of it and it automatically loads. Some of them you just tap it, automatically loads, which is really, really nice. I actually had someone look at that for me and gave me a couple suggestions, which I'm going to end up doing. If you don't end up doing that and you do use business cards, two things, right? Three things. One, make sure it's a quality card, right? There's nothing worse than talking to somebody about an investment and financials and things like that, and you got like a really bad, droopy, crappy paper, kind of thing, card or whatever it is. At least try and make it, it doesn't have to be like corporate like, but it does have to be at least some level that they look at and they feel it. They don't go, "Oh, geez," they kind of go, "Okay, great." So that's one thing. Number two, and again, Jane and Sharon, jump in wherever you want, because I'm not sure, because I've seen other cards as well. What I usually do is I will always make sure that the back of the business card is matte, right? So two reasons. One is if they don't have a card, and they don't have their phone or whatever it is. I don't know who wouldn't have their phone, but it happens. I can basically just give them my card and my pen and say, would you mind putting down a way that I can contact you? Right. And if it's the really glossy stuff, it's really, really hard to write on that stuff. Right. So you keep the matte ones. Right. And the other side of it too is you may talk to, 1, 2, 8, whatever people, whatever it is. And what I do is I try as best I can, because I've got a horrible memory, is I will write something about that individual, right? So, is an attorney and is looking for properties in whatever, or is a doctor, not looking right now, but asked me to keep in touch, or, this person's daughter, attends University of Maryland, where my daughter just graduated from, so I'll put down stuff like that. So 1, have a good business card, right? 2, matte back. 3, note. And this is the most important part of basically anything that I'm going to tell you tonight. And I think this is going to segue really, really nicely into what Jane and Sharon are going to talk about. You must, if you want to be successful, you must absolutely 100% reach out to people that you exchange information with. Okay. I cannot tell you how many times, and I've told this story before, and if you heard it before, I apologize, but I went to, I go to a lot of RIAs and stuff like that. I like to hang out and just kind of sit on the side or whatever it is and talk or whatever. And one guy, knew about us or whatever it is. And they're like, oh, they brought me up in the front and it's like, hey, James is really successful. He works with his partner, Nicole, yada, yada, all this other stuff. So people started coming up and asking for my card. And I was like, all right, yeah. So I handed out probably, 40 cards maybe. And I probably got like 30 in return or whatever it is. And the next day, right, I reached out to everybody that I had a business card from. You know how many people that had business cards of mine reached out to me? 0. Not one person. It's, to me, that's just mind-boggling. Why did you get a business card to begin with? And well, to be honest with you, I used to be that way too, right? I used to have drawers full of business cards, just kind of throw them in there when you get home. But absolutely, once every 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it is, just send them something basically saying, hey, still around, just wanted to let you know, I talked about this earlier. Hey, here's an interesting article. And maybe for that person at University of Maryland or whatever it is, I might reach out to them and go, hey, my daughter just graduated, from the School of Music, if your daughter is, in a program in Maryland and you want my daughter to help her out with anything, or she has questions, please reach out, right? Automatic connection, because I met them and I figured out, okay, that's the connection, right? So now I'm able to kind of reach out to them once a month. And it could be just once a month going, hey, just, wanted to reach out, say hi, hope all is well. Thanks. And you're done. You're just keeping people front of mind, right? All the time. So, all right. Have I spoken enough? Have I? It's like when you know this from the studios, right? When the people were like doing this, going, keep talking, keep talking. All right. So I think if no one has any more questions, we're going to start the transition. And after I get off the screen, if you will, I will put all those links into the chat for you. So next up are Jane and Sharon, and this lovely lady between them, who I don't know who it is. Hi.
Say hi to Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful.
So when we started this years ago, people really liked the way we presented and the value we brought and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, have you guys ever thought about doing single family? Now, Nicole started in single family, and so did I. And then I got into multifamily and have never gone back. Nicole still does some single family, but we are by no means, I guess, the experts, if you will. So somebody asked, can you put something together to kind of provide value for people that are interested in single family? So we did do that. We created something called the Virtual REI Academy. We got about 15 instructors, and these instructors are all full-time investors, hugely successful, that are willing to provide their the value and their knowledge. And I'll give you a little secret. So they were like, you don't need to pay me, James. I just want to do this because I want to provide value. Now, it took a lot of time and a lot of money to create the website. So yes, we do charge for that, right? But most of the investors are like, no, I just want to give back, which is phenomenal, right? So there's a ton of information on there, all sorts of different strategies, how to buy stuff with no money, how to buy stuff with lots of money, how to buy stuff with other people's money, how to work with your CPA, how to work with your IRA provider, self-directed IRAs, all sorts of stuff. And that's the virtual reiacademy.com. And we looked for someone to partner with. And we'd known Jane and Sharon when they were up here in Baltimore. We live, all of us, well, we all used to live in Maryland, and now they're down in beautiful, warm Sarasota. And we just couldn't think of anybody else that would have two things. One is the credibility that comes from amazing successes in the time that they've been in this business. And I don't know, you guys can tell them the number of deals you've gone through, and they haven't all been like, okay, we did this many flips, right? It's like, no, we did some of this, we did some of this, we did some of that. And it's amazing the kind of success that they've had. And at the same time, we wanted somebody that wanted to provide value, right? Yes, obviously, we're promoting the class. We'd love for you to join. We think there's huge value there. But at the same time, we wanted to have someone that would say, something, James, if they want to call me or whatever it is, or shoot me an email, I'll help them. We're not just kind of talking or whatever it is. That's fine. So these people have a huge, huge, huge heart. I care very much about them. They're phenomenal, phenomenal people. And Jane and Sharon are going to talk about, I know what it is. I thought maybe you'd say it.
Networking.
Networking, relationships. Okay. And I set it up so you guys can share. Are you able to share from there? Do you want to send it to me and I'll share it for you? What's best for you?
Yeah, I think we can, and I appreciate that, James. Thank you very much.
Sure.
We're glad to be here. I don't know how this is going to work. This was kind of just a right brain thing. Let's sit in the lobby and see who we can gather for a networking, because real estate is a team sport. So you need a lot of people and you need a lot of help. And, basically it comes down to networking and how well you do it and, how you treat people. So as you can see now, we have Steph here too. We're at a networking event in West Palm Beach, Florida. So we had a little bit of drive to get here. And just talking about how you meet people and how you talk to them and making them feel important. And just not dismissing people, no matter who they are in the lobby. And actually I'll just
You guys want to talk
if
about
you guys just want to talk about why you're here and how you network and
the importance of networking, whatever you want to say.
importance of network.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm super excited to be here. We've got some pretty heavy hitters here this weekend, and I'm thrilled to be amongst them. And as far as networking, I mean, we couldn't be in a better place really anywhere in the country, pretty much anywhere in the world. There's people from all over the world coming. So I'm just so thankful to be here. Because like I said, we couldn't be in a better place to network and make connections and build relationships. And I'm thrilled. I'm super thrilled to be here.
And Tracy, how long have we known you approximately?
About a year.
Right. So
Yeah.
we talk and like if either of us needs anything or every time we see somebody, and this is something we always do typically at these events or other events, is take selfies with people, because you want to keep in contact with them, and Facebook is a great way to keep in contact with them. So we want people to know that we're hanging out with Steph and Tracy. And, then their people kind of see them and maybe they're interested in real estate, or they know people in Sarasota or Virginia or down in Miami or wherever people are from. So not only does that help your connections, but it broadens them, because now, and just a funny story with Steph here, I can't even, it's
hard to explain.
A friend of Sharon's that went to school in Pasadena has a son
Yeah.
and was staying with Steph, and we didn't even know it, but we tagged each other in a picture, and then that person saw that person, and this is people in Miami and Maryland, and never knew it. We had known Steph for a while, probably.
It's hard to say. I think my daughter's best friend, his mother, grew up in Tarrant.
Right, like, how does that even happen?
In Florida and Baltimore, totally
Right.
different area.
I think we've known each other for what,
2 years?
at least 2 years.
Probably 3 years, and it wasn't until last year because we tagged her in a picture that the other person.
The other said, I
So-
saw her.
So that's
It is a
kind of,
small world.
yeah, it's a small world. It's a small world in real estate. So, some people know different people, because we might tag Tracy in something. We know a lot of people in Virginia, with the, different groups. So, that's liable to see something that they know that she's here and then she does real estate and on and on. So that's kind of the importance of networking. And that's why we kind of wanted to sit here and just like see people coming into the lobby. And
These people feel like my family now. I'm so excited to see them. We have so much in common. It's a treat. It really is. These trips are I really look forward to them.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm going to be demoing the Beamer mat on JT. He invited me to do that. And the Beamer mat, it improves your microcirculation and all your capillaries. And it does so with something called PEMF, which is pulse electromagnetic field. And it's like getting a tiny little battery charge on every one of your cells. And it's a real healthy thing to do.
so we might do that, and then maybe we'll be supercharged next week.
Yeah.
We'll be feeling a little bit better. And that's just another thing that we didn't know about, that maybe, that's something that helps us, that helps you guys, just from networking here
And
today.
it puts you on the top of your game. A lot of people don't put their health first, especially us real estate investors. We're gunning it and looking for the next deal. And then when, our mind's not working as sharply, then we're not working to our full capacity. So, then we network with different people and different entrepreneurs from different walks of life and different businesses, and we can all collaborate together and help each other out, move forward.
And real estate is a business, whether you know it or not. Like, a lot of people just basically just run around and do real estate. But at the end of the day, it's a business. And if you ever want to sell your business, you have to have your ducks in order. So what better way to hang out with other business professionals?
Charlene, did you have a question for him?
Yes, she just ran away. I wanted to ask her to spell out the Beamer mat, where you get it and all that kind of stuff. What
So
what-
I for you on here.
Say you're already
I'm back, I'm back.
He's back.
Charlene wants to ask you a question about how you
I
get the
heard you
visa.
said I was going.
First of all, how do you spell it? And where do you get it?
BEMER. Bioelectromagnetic energy regulation. That's what that means. And they've had someone said 40 patents, someone else said 100, but they have a lot of patents on their waves and the way the frequencies are. And they actually collaborated with NASA. And it's an FDA approved class 2 medical device for healing bone and tissue. So it has that, but it has a lot of other benefits too. And they have a new model that it's like a Ferrari compared to the old one. It's a lot more powerful. So that's the one JT is going to get, of course. So
Is
you
it a
like,
patch? Is it
I
like
put
a
it in the
patch
chat.
put
Did I
in
spell it? I put
It's
it in the
actually
chat.
a
Did I spell
mat.
it right?
It's a mat.
it's a mat that has
That you lay
coils
on
in it.
That you lay on it.
Electromagnetic coils, and you lay on it 8 minutes in the morning, 8 minutes at night. That's all you have to do. And it will recharge all your cells. It'll get your microcirculation going, which will allow your body to heal itself. Because a lot of our blood's in the I'm sorry.
How do you access it?
How do you
How
access?
do you get it? Order
Yeah.
one or?
Well, go to my website. I'm a distributor.
Oh, I'll go to chat and put our website on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me get it. I'll be right. It's new.
Look at that. We got a sale.
This is so exciting to be in the right place at the right time, because I just happened to walk in the door and y'all were here. And Jane and Sharon are such incredible, amazing leaders and such incredible. They're just so generous with their time and their knowledge and their skills. And then we're just so blessed.
I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah, they're just the best. And then here we get Stephanie's information here. I'd love to get a hold of one of these
Yeah.
sheets too. Okay.
Oh,
And Stephanie, how old are you, Stephanie?
I'm very immature. I'm 72.
72 years
I
old.
No,
and
you're
little-
not.
And I
she's-
had to look
Thank
at her
you.
license.
And we did not believe her. We had to look
And
at her
she would
license.
run circles around all of us.
She
No, I
has
don't think
so
so.
much energy. She is
I
incredible.
tell you what. It's, the Beamer's a big part of it, but also it's other exercise. And believe me, I have a lot of debacles. I can't really even see what I'm writing then.
Is that a cap? Okay. She's putting in.
I'm putting in the contact, but I don't know if you can reach me through, I'm sure you can message me on that, but if not,
Or just reach out and I'll
Yeah,
give her phone number. I
yeah,
can
Jane
get you in
can give you
contact.
my phone number.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great.
Thank you. Is that a .com? There.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, enter?
There you go.
Hey, can I take
Oh,
that you put
great.
that on your
I see
screen?
it.
See if that's embarrassing. I had it like translated out. I just took a picture of it handwritten. Okay, watch here. Oh, there you go.
See, just like we're networking, just talking, and then opportunities present themselves.
Stuff that you don't even know that you were thinking about, or you thought about it, but you didn't know how to get in contact with somebody that, might do that or might know about it. Or, same with real estate. You can be talking about resident, single family, and then you stumble into multifamily, right? So that's kind of the same thing. I closed the chat down.
And she learned about it, became a distributor from another friend of ours that we networked with, and met. His name is Hugh Hilton. He's a Hilton, and he does multifamily over in the other coast in California. And he uses it, and he's the same way. He's hell of his view, 70 in his 70s, and the same way. He's runs circles around people. He plays golf all the time. He's always on the go, and he swears by that. So, all right.
Thank you. See it. We'll see it, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hi,
thank
Tracy.
you. Bye, guys. Nice to meet you.
So, yeah, just like that, we go to the meetings and stay relevant and add value, just like James was saying. A lot of times you want to, add value to the other person and not expect anything in return. And there's so many times where, it can be frustrating because you add value, and it doesn't always come back to you.
And sometimes it never will. Sometimes you're just adding value, and some people don't give it back. Some people do. Some people give it back, 100 times over.
So, and it's just the times where people do, give it back, you add value, and they give it back are the ones like that, like, and trust, and you want to work with, and then you build a strong relationship with them, whether you, whether they're your money lender or you collaborate with them in different way or partnership. And then you have those partners, strong relationships for years and years and years. And then, and some people, they have the attitude where they don't want to share the wealth, or, we like partnerships. We JV with a lot of people, and there's a lot of other investors we talk to that said that they don't JV, they don't like that, they don't want to share the wealth. But many heads are better than one, and then you get more deals, more things in the pipeline. You learn from them, they learn from you. And trust me, there's plenty of properties and plenty of opportunities and deals to go around. And when you buy the way we do, very conservatively, and you buy right, there's plenty of spread to go around for the sharing the profits. We do a lot of times 50-50 profit shares. There's plenty of wealth to go around, plenty of the money, and then you could do things, you can have more deals and work them faster. So then, you have more deals on your table, more deals under your belt. So it works the same or better. And then you glean from each other. And like James was touching about the credibility kit, when you first start out, you're running around and you might be getting really good deals. And the investor that's been doing it for years and years is doing a million other things and might not have all the time that we did when we were investors just starting. So you bring the fabulous deals to them, they bring their expertise. And then when you're going to try to get acquire money or expand your credibility kit, you can use their experiences too. And especially if they're your partner, you can say, my partner and I have done 100 deals, when you've only maybe done one or two of them. You posture it in a way where you're working with that partner, so you can say, confidently saying, you're not lying, my partner, I've done 100 deals. So you work from their experience. So that that's how we started out. And then you go and you go to meetings, and there's certain meetings that we go to all the time. because we want to be relevant in those meetings. So they, and that's how you build traction. You show up, you make yourself available, you help others, you find out others' needs and wants, and then you start making a name for yourself. And as you get into real estate, you'll get a niche or an area that you like. Well, for instance, one of our niches in the market is we like to find houses on the outskirts of a city, like the suburbs or area where there's a good pool of jobs, but there's still affordable houses you can acquire. And then we'll either lease option or owner finance it to a family. And we have certain market areas that we do that in. So we just tell people what we're looking for. And then when you start going to those meetings over and over again, pretty soon you're known for that niche. It's almost like you're branded with that niche. So if a good deal comes that would fit what you need, your niche or your area, you're the first one they think about. Like we're one of the ones that'll do deals in Gary, Indiana. A lot of people stay away from Gary, but we jump in there. We have a good team. It's solid. As you know, because we showed you the house that we're working on. So if there's ever a deal or something that comes up in Gary, we're the first ones to get called from that meeting that we go to all the time in Sarasota, because we're branded for that. We're known for that. So once you start networking, then it just opens up more opportunities for you. And you just let people know what you're looking for, let them know what's your market, add value to other people, be patient and present, and just listen, listen to and people will tell you what they want and need. And like I was saying before, that was the person in that group in Sarasota that that was a private money lender for us. And we impressed them so much that they told other people to invest with us and invest their money, because we'll give the money back early, and our deals are solid and conservative, and we do well with decent deals. Sure, you guys have been doing a lot of real estate for years and years. You turn down way more deals than you actually do, but that's the name of the game. It's a money game. The more deals you look at, the more solid deals that you're going to be able to acquire and flip or hold and make a good profit. So,
we ran out of guests. I think it's dinner time.
Let me look at my notes here. And another thing, when we were networking before we got on this call, we talked to 3 different investors who one of them's in Texas, one of them's actually in Canada, and the other is, I can't remember where they are, somewhere in the middle. I think Denver, I think Colorado. And all 3 of them at different times to me said that deals are still hard to find. It's the market's softening up and it's coming around. But where they're getting a lot of their deals is they've created solid relationships with agents, with realtors, real estate agents, where they've, got to gain trust and a really strong relationship to the point where they're getting pocket listings. The realtors actually going to that person and giving them the properties, before it even hits the market. And that's what's worked for them the last 6 or 8 months. That's where they've gotten 90% of their deals. And all 3 of them told me this at 3 different conversations that I had, because we had to go,
We went and registered.
And we were going to different, Jane was in one group, and we kind of split up and go into different groups and talk to people. And I was in the other, and that was the theme. And so you really want to build solid relationships with those agents. You want to find the agents that are investor friendly, that understand, what investors are looking for, that's maybe invests in properties themselves, and just build that relationship with them. Maybe work with them with deals, if they're investors themselves, partner with them or give them a percentage of your equity, like a little equity share with them. And then you got the keys to the kingdom. They'll constantly come to you and close, do what you say you're going to do with them, close earlier on time, and gain their trust and respect, and it'll go a long way. And these are the 3 people that I talked to are very successful investors. They have done the one guy in Houston, Philip, how long's he been doing it? For like
20 years. We're gonna try to get Philip on here.
20 years, and he's done the gamut. He's done multifamily, single family,
Airbnb.
different types of rentals. He's got a wealth of experience, and he's the first one that told me that he's having a hard time finding good deals unless he goes through the agents. So,
And just another like just sidebar relationship. So everybody knows we have a cute golden retriever puppy. So our puppy sitter just recently went and got her agent license. So, you know, when I dropped him off this morning, obviously we had that long conversation about, you know, her being an agent and what we can do to help her and what she's looking for and how we can help each other. You know, so now our puppy sitter could potentially be our agent in the Sarasota market because she just got her license. So hopefully.
and that goes right with what James was saying. Don't discount anybody. You never know what people have or you know, what they're interested in.
Like I had no idea she was going to get her license, and then she was asking, you know, a couple of times she said, "Oh, where are you guys going?" And "Oh, we're doing a real estate. Oh, what do you do? This is what I'm doing." So this general conversation is how you you know, network.
And what we always do that works, and I would suggest you do it too, is I know a lot of this that we're talking about is just right going in line with what James was saying. Be the first one to follow up. Make sure you always follow up, because a lot of us get so busy and we forget to follow up and continue to nurture and grow those relationships, where we actually put it in our calendar and at least once a month have a group of people that we just reach out to and follow up with to keep the relationship going, to ask them if they need anything, if they want anything, talk to them about what they're working on. Maybe then, you know, something will open up where you guys can work on something together. Tracy, that was just behind us, she does investing in Virginia. And the last time we talked to her, she had a project that she was working on in Virginia and she hit a block. So we brainstormed with her to help her, and we'll talk to her later to find out how it went, to help her straighten out a situation with a house she was trying to acquire. And it turned out that the guy that sold her that house, we had her ask them questions. Turns out they have other houses that they might be willing to sell after this one goes through. So, you know, just talking to her about following up with people, she might have a couple other properties that she can obtain in the future. So, you know, asking the right questions also, and, you know, helping each other out when they're, you know, the right questions to ask, because there's so many times that, you know, we were doing market campaigns. We would send out the flyers and people would say, you know, they're not selling that house. And then a lot of times we'd be like, okay, then, you know, hang up the phone. But then we started asking more questions and talk to them more. Do you have other houses you're interested in selling? Is there like an eyesore house in your neighborhood that you want us to try to talk to somebody? Do you know anybody else in the neighborhood that is trying to sell? And just going a little above and beyond and asking more questions, it opens it up to where we were able to get deals where we, you know, if we would have just said, oh, thank you, and hung up the phone, we would have never known. Because when people do, you know, they're homeowners, they get that flyer and they think you're only interested in their house. They, you know, they don't see how we operate and work. So sometimes you do have to, you know the questions to ask and things to do. So move forward. And these are all things that we've learned as we went along, and, you know, it's worked.
And that was probably the one thing that took us the longest to, I mean, we really did sit in the corner for a while and not talk to people, being introverted. Like, you'd never know that now, but like, seriously, we would sit in the back of the RIA meetings in Baltimore and like not talk to anybody, not hand out cards, not really, just kind of sit there and kind of not talk to people. So you really do have to talk to people. The more people you talk to, the better things get, the more deals you have, the more opportunities you have, the more you can help people.
And stay authentic. I mean, when we first were, you know, getting involved in real estate, we talked to coaches and everything, and they said, you know, it's good to have an elevator pitch, to have like 30 to 90-second little speech on, what you do, what you're looking for. But we wrote it down and had them help us write it down and tried to memorize it. And we realized when we regurgitated it, we didn't sound, we sounded robotic. We didn't sound personal. We weren't authentic. So you realize you do have to be yourself when you do speak with people, just, and look at something that, they might have a shirt on with a team and talk, maybe, that opens up, to build a rapport by talking about their likes, oh, I see you got a Ravens jersey on, you like the Ravens, they're doing really well this year, and just strike up a conversation that way, and that builds credibility as well. They you just, like James hit on so much, you want people to work with people who like and trust, and who they in turn have that like and trust in you. Nobody wants to do business, even if you trust that person. Nobody really wants to do business with somebody that you don't really like. And it's a strained relationship. You're like, oh my gosh, I gotta go talk to them again. So just be relevant, likable, and I can't actually enough, when we started being authentic, I just can't say enough about authenticity. That's
even with sellers, like, if you're talking to somebody about selling their house, like, find something you can relate to, or something that's happened. Like, if they're going through a foreclosure and somebody that went through that, or a family member, or somebody you tried to help, I mean, you can tell that story without, because some people are just like, oh, foreclosure, why didn't you pay your bill? Like, that's not going to get you, you kind of have to feel like we always try to relate something to a story that, somebody we know, something that's happened to us, something that, somebody went through, because it makes it more, then they can understand, you can get on their level with whether they're selling a house, or, some kind of situation that they're going through. So,
And another good point I just thought of, when we first started out and we started going to meetings, people are pretty tight-lipped about their resources, the people that they work with, their connections. And we do the opposite. We share our resources. We connect people with people we know. And, we all work together. I just, I don't understand it, because you're all helping each other. Like, if people are like pretty close to the chest with their contractors. And I understand that you want your contractors to work with you and that you don't want them to be too busy, but it goes a long way to, share your contacts with your handyman contractors, with other investors. And then the contractor will see that you're, you like them, you respect them, and you're using them as referrals. So, and then they'll like you and respect you even more, and they're, and they'll be loyal to you. So,
and sometimes, especially with contractors, and I guess I've never understood that, because like we can't possibly keep our contractor busy we could, but 365 days of the year. Like, there is going to be some downtime, or what if you don't find a deal, and now you've kind of boxed him into, you're my contractor and I'm not going to share you and all that. Well, now you don't have a deal for him to work on, so now he's going to have to go find work elsewhere. So as long as you're sharing those people, he's always got work. And, one of our guys has actually told people, no matter what, they come first. That's, if they have something that pops up, then I'm going to go finish them. But, in the meantime, if you have some side jobs, so that kind of works out. So unless you can keep them busy 365 days of the year, I mean, they have to work. So share them with people that are going to pay them and treat them right. Don't share them with people that are going to abuse them and not treat them right.
And then it'll expand their business, because if they get very busy, then they'll hire more teams and more people under them. So then it just expands their business. So it's a win-win for everybody, I believe. But
does anybody have any specific questions about networking or different this is just one thing. Like, when you sit in the lobby at an event, you're liable to see a lot more people that you might not see, or you don't have time to look at, see in the classroom or whatever kind of thing you're doing. So it's, just sometimes we just hang out here and you see who you see. Then if you can get a group to go to dinner or, at least, dinner in the restaurant, in the motel, or, so that way there's a group of you, there's different things. So that's one thing we try to do is sit out. I think everybody is at dinner right now. A lot of people were coming in late, so I think they went to dinner. We didn't grab the people that we wanted, but
And there
maybe
has,
next time.
and the people that are sitting in the lobby, and we're sitting in the lobby to create contacts to go out to dinner, we're the heavy hitters. Like 4 or 5 of them that we know that are heavy hitters that do really well with real estate. They're the ones that were actually sitting around in the lobby looking for people waiting.
Anybody have any specific questions? I know Santa Claus is on everybody's mind, so we might not be thinking about networking, but
Or have a story that worked for them with, a networking experience or experience staying relevant in somebody's life or going above or beyond.
why?
So I got a couple of questions. So
Mhm.
I did try and wait and make sure that nobody else had a question. So a lot of the real estate investors, the successful ones that I've met, are introverts, right? I'm very much an introvert. You guys have said that you're very much an introvert. And over time, you just have to learn, right? To put yourself out there a little bit more. And I do know as an introvert, when I go out and I network, I come home and I'm exhausted. I was like, this is really
Mhm.
hard for me, kind of thing. So when you started out, you were in a room with 50 people, you don't know any of them, no one's wearing a Ravens t-shirt. What do you say, or what would you tell someone to say, something, this is what I would recommend you may want to do if you're that introvert in that big room to meet somebody?
I think really you have to put it in your head. You just have to go meet somebody, and after you meet the first person, or sometimes I would just like kind of stroll into a group of 5 because everybody's talking, and then maybe somebody out of that 5, somebody's going to say something that you can connect with, whether it's sports or and then ask them about what they're working on. Like that's probably the biggest thing. Like a lot of people go up to somebody and say, hi, I'm this and I do this and I do multifamily and I do residential and I've had 150 deals and I invest people don't like, I want to hear what about them. So I'll just say, what do you do? And then kind of let them talk. And that eases because you don't have to talk. You're just listening. And they get to talk about what they do. And then you can kind of chime in or see how it goes from there.
That's a good point. It reminded me of a story. Jane and I were at a networking event and we were kind of sitting quiet listening. And the guy next to us said, I have a problem. I have a lot of deals and properties that I have to go through, but I don't have time. I need somebody with the time to help me structure these. And both of us at the same time said, we have the time. We're here to help. What can we do? And then we worked with them and they actually kind of mentored us and showed us how to structure deals better with creatively with owner financing. So it was a win-win. We helped them get people in the houses and structure the contracts and everything and work that part out. He kind of showed us the ropes, how he does this whole
With the
business
paperwork
scheme
and
with
different.
the paperwork. So it worked great. And then we were getting paid for each person that we put into his house for him and created a contract and then now we've gotten so good at that people come to us and ask us, hey, I have a house. Can you find a good family to put in that house for owner financing or lease option? And actually just yesterday, somebody came to us and said they have 3 houses and they want us to put each of our family in each of them with owner financing. We already have families lined up for 2 of the locations because we had them on a waiting list. They said, we'll give you a couple grand for each house. And it won't take long for us to do. So, and then, we're adding value to them. And it's somebody that we've done business with other deals too in the past. So, just they can't express the adding the value. That's like, adding value to other people and seeing what they need and give them back, because what'll really propel you, move you forward.
And I think when you're like this is the 3-day event that we're going to be with a bunch of people. And then we have to decompress after these events. Like, that kind of sounds weird, but it's like you just have to get in the moment and just say, this is what I need to do. I need to talk to all these people and, find the people that you click with and then just kind of run with it. And then, just go off and have your time to kind of decompress and then come back. So I hope that answered that one.
No, absolutely. I think 2 things. Somebody told me a long time ago, James, no one's coming to your house to offer you a deal. And I was like, what is he talking about? I was like, oh, I need to get out. Okay. So no one's coming to your house to offer you a deal or to offer you money or whatever it is. So you do have to get out there. And what I started doing was, I've got this incredible like entry line, right? To like have people get to relax and stuff like that. I come up and go, hi, my name's James Ray. What do you do? And that's it, kind of thing. And you'll be amazed at how many people, to your point, Jane and Sharon, really want to talk about what they do. They'll leave after talking to you for 10 minutes and go, man, I really had a good conversation with Jane and Sharon. That was awesome. And you guys said like 2 words, right? Kind of thing. So it is amazing. It gets very easy. And the other thing, I used to put myself under so much pressure about, all right, I've got to meet 20 people, right? That's my goal, whatever it is.
That's smart.
And you just, what happens is you set yourself up for failure, right? In the beginning. So I was like, okay, I just want to meet 1 person, right? Yep. And then I met 1. And the next time I was like, okay, I did 1. So let me try and meet 3 people, right? And you just kind of build up from there. You do have to have a little bit of a conversation with them. So you start, like what you guys are talking about, start that relationship. You don't want to come in and just start taking business cards because that doesn't help anybody, kind of thing. But just starting small and just saying hi, what do you do, kind of thing, has always worked really well for me. I still use that most of the time, unless there's like a group of 5 people or something like that. Yeah. So
and we've seen and like now, and we used to do it. So like we would just go into a group and we would like just put our business card on a chair, like or on somebody's table, because it's like, all right, we can just put our card down and we don't have to talk to them. And they'll get our card and then they'll call us with the deal or they'll call us with whatever, right? So we, and now we see people that do that. And I'm like, I don't even know who put the card there. So why would I call them, right? Now looking at it, years later, but we used to do that. So that's one thing. And then, to your point, taking notes about different people and writing them down. So, cause when you meet, we went to an event not too long ago and there was 800 people there. So, obviously it was, there's core people that but there was a lot of people that we did know. And a lot of times we'll take a selfie and then, kind of that way you remember with a picture as well, and then, post them, find them on Facebook. And that's like, now a lot of times now we don't give out the cards as much as I just hand them my phone and I say, put your number in. And, they put the number in, and if they don't want to talk to you, then they're going to put in a bad number. But most of the time they put in a good number. Then we take a selfie. I lock them in my phone, find them on Facebook. And then, you can tag them in that picture. And then you start in that, even if you only have a couple minutes to talk to them, it's just, you saw them, you took a picture, you tag them, then, you inbox them, and then you have their phone number. And then if something comes up, oh, that was the person that does real estate in California. And then you can reach out and say, hey, this deal came across my desk.
I love the selfie thing. I never heard that before. That's a great idea. I'm going to steal that if you don't mind.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you have another question?
Go ahead.
Did you have another question?
You talking to me or to Wayne?
I thought you had another question.
Oh. I was going to say, what a great idea. Then post it on Facebook and then tag them. right? Because you're like, hey,
Yes.
everyone likes to be tagged. Well, I think, most people like to
Yep.
be tagged, right? Kind of thing. Everyone likes to
Right.
be recognized and stuff like that. So that's fantastic. So I'm gonna remember how to do that. And I think I was trying to think if I wrote down everything else.
And two, it's like, because sometimes you're with more successful people than what, like this group that we're in, where it's, I don't know, there's talk of Wayne Gretzky being here. I will see. So, we're with this group that's going to see him, and some other people. And then, you're at that function with other people. They're more successful. You tag them. And then, it's who you're hanging out with. People are like, oh, that's the person that was hanging out with Wayne Gretzky.
right.
So we'll see.
And we've, the last couple of years, we've been a proponent of celebrity branding, and it really works. I mean, all the products you see on TV, they are always has some celebrity or somebody with their product. I mean, look at Nike, look at, that's huge example, because anybody, they want to have a celebrity or
Shaq and Papa John's.
yes, and some authority figure to because that's what sells, and that's what impresses people and brings you up a step above your competitors, and that's the name of the game, or gets notoriety to you.
Because it's who gets noticed first, right? You got to make the most noise. You got to be out there, and it's who gets noticed first.
I forgot to cut and paste this into the chat, which I'm going to do right now.
Oh, is there a question? Oh, I'll have to check.
And these people are not coming back from dinner. What are they doing?
To talk to us. Oh, thank you, James. Thank you.
They're ruining our right brain idea.
They're all
Any
watching
other
from the
questions?
bar.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bistro down there or something.
And that's a good point. If you want money lenders, find them drinking at the bar. Their inhibitions are all over the place. They'll be like, yeah, I got one for you.
You know what's funny? We've heard that now 4 different times. Like we don't drink, so we're not typically hanging out at the bar. But we've heard that from 4 different people. They're like, "Well, why did you do that deal?" I don't know. We were sitting around drinking. It seemed like a good idea.
The one guy's like, yeah, then I went home and told my wife about it. She was ready to throw my clothes out the door. Like, I don't know how I bought that business, but the bourbon was good. So that might not be a bad idea, to go to the bars and find money lenders.
There you go. That's awesome.
Any other
Also-
questions or?
I mean, I also like what you talked about, doing all the joint ventures and stuff like that. Because what a lot of people are guilty of, I think, is they force themselves into a bad deal, right? It's like, okay, I can probably get a little bit more in rent, or I can get this or whatever it is, and they massage the numbers so they can actually make that deal work. And the reason they do that is because they've got one deal, right? As opposed to you guys, if you joint venture and you make yourself open to people and stuff like that, you might have 20 deals, and then you can kind of pick and choose and say, something, that one's not good, but it's okay because I've got 19 others. So what you guys do is just phenomenal. Really, you just are amazing at what you do.
And I just think there's like, you can take one topic and everybody does it different, so you'll have a successful person that does, multifamily, but in that group, there's a bunch of people that do the same thing, and they all do it different. And you might pick up, just a little tidbit if you JV'd with that person or something to make it better with this person, or, so you're always learning, like, no matter what you're doing, you're always learning.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, how you doing? Good. All right, I think people are jumping off to go Christmas shopping or eating or something else. Did you have a share screen?
Oh, I was just the one that we always put on there. It's
Is it this one?
yeah. Is that the right?
Do you guys see it?
Yep.
All right, and that's basically where you can get a hold of us if you need anything, have a problem, whatever. That's our email. And again, the virtual REI Academy. Just there's so many. Where are we filming? We're on.
I'm sorry.
There's a ton of classes on there. with professionals that have been doing this for a very long time. It's very reasonable and check it out. There's some free stuff on there, scope of work, some different free things. So jump on the website and see what we have and highly recommend it. I guess we'll call it an early night. Let's
And also, in meetings, in the future, if you have a deal that you're looking at that want to, run it by us, we can give feedback and let you know, our thoughts and views on it. If we think it's a good deal or, if something could be done with it or, another set of eyes on it, you might have, a different way to look at it. So if you have, deals that might be in your pipeline that you're unsure of, feel free, bring it out and we will have a deep dive on it or look into it.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's really, really nice that you guys would do that. So someone can bring, and obviously it would not put the address or whatever it is. They would just say, hey, look, here's kind of this deal. I'm not sure how to structure it or whatever it is. And we could walk them through it. And maybe we could do like a Teaching Tuesday where we have, okay, 2 people show up with deals or something like that. Or,
Absolutely.
1 or 4 or something like that might be interesting to people to do it live.
Yeah, good point. You don't want to put the address out there for everybody.
Hi, I just saw your house on Teaching
right.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's
Good point.
all over YouTube now.
That's
But-
right. Awesome. All right. Anything else, ladies?
Not unless anybody has questions, or it can be unrelated to networking. Can be anything. If not, go Christmas shopping, go eat,
Enjoy your family.
enjoy for the rest of the night, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
What's that, the 19th?
Yes.
We will have a special guest on a special topic. Adding a little feng shui to your house. So KB will be on and she's a character, so you don't want to miss that one.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.
Night, everybody.